welcome. You are in the right place at the right time. It's Sunday. I'm Sandy O from Emma's Revolution.
And I'm Pat Humphreys.
We are thrilled that you are joining us for one more session of our Learn a Song. We've been doing these since the beginning of Pandemic Land, either teaching a song ourselves, bringing in a friend to teach a song as we have today, or hosting a concert. Like many of you may have been at our concert last month where you heard our guest who's going to be teaching today. Before we get to our special guest, I want to thank our fantastic tech team who keep things running for us up here in the world of technology. So that was Marcy running the video for you. We've got Moria and Paula and Rada in the house, and Alice and Toby on our team as well. So we give great big thanks to them, and so glad you're joining us.
Our guest today is a dear friend for many, many, many years. I remember meeting her, it must have been somewhere in the mid 80s or so. And I met her at, I believe it was a People's Music Gathering. And she was playing with her band at the time called Human Condition. And I just thought that she was pretty much the coolest songwriter on earth, and that I just wanted to be her when I grew up. And it's been a joy to share music and friendship for all these years. Bev's the kind of songwriter that I aspire to be. You know, she would read the news and then sit down and write a song. And Sandy and I, work at writing songs whenever there's an issue before us that speaks to us, but I was always amazed at the frequency with which Bev did that. So please join us in welcoming our dear friend Bev Grant.
Thank you.
Hey,
I
Bev.
don't feel like
Hi.
I write that many songs from the newspaper anymore because, for one thing, I don't get the newspaper. So it's not the same.
Right.
I read the news, right? I listen to the news, but it's
Sure.
not the same as having that article in front of you where you can underline words and stuff,
I love that. The idea of underlining words is like, it's so nostalgic at this point. But we've had the joy of, Pandemic Land has been weird, but it has given us this absolute joy of getting to see you and so many of our friends more than we used to. Because,
Yes.
you would be working when we were working. And so
We're on different coasts.
Right.
that's right.
Right.
And actually, I'm glad you mentioned that because right now we're here in Maryland.
Oh, right.
Right.
And we're on a tour raising funds for a group called Movement Voter Project. So I just realized I hadn't explained the shirt. But generally, we are on different coasts, with us being in California and you being in New York.
Yeah, we definitely see more of you. I mean, obviously, we would never ask for something as horrific as a pandemic, but given that this is our situation that we're working through right now, we've actually seen more of you in this time because we have the technology and the access
Yeah.
than we see you normally. So
I think that it's really been important in many ways, like, for example, with my chorus, which I'm now retiring from next Sunday. It's brought us closer together, and it's actually enabled the chorus to get to know each other, in a more intimate way than at in-person rehearsals, and it's brought them closer and is enabling them to like seek out a new director, and organize themselves, so I'm really thankful for that.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's quite a legacy. You founded the Brooklyn Women's Chorus how many years ago?
25.
Jeez, it's been that long.
25 years of Tuesdays.
Well, we won't ask you to divulge what you're going to do on your first Tuesday off, but I think it's probably going to be wonderful.
Well, I erased, like on your phone book calendar, how you can have the date. I erased everything from after this coming Tuesday. So I'm free,
free
one
woman.
nice aspect.
That is a nice aspect. And actually, the Free Woman line really makes me think of your song. And you're bringing us this really powerful song that you wrote
20 years ago.
that you wrote 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And that you sang with the choir, with your chorus. but it is about, women, being like free to step up and do something that was unexpected of them, and took a multinational corporation by surprise. So, did you want to tell us about this song, and then we'll play
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
I found this song in the New York Times. I think originally it was in the Washington Post, but it was a reprint, and talked about this small village right beside the Chevron Texaco oil terminal in Nigeria in the Delta region, and described how the little village was sinking because of trenches and creeks that the oil company had dug, and how the conditions were so abysmal in this village. And a woman named Mama Ayo, that's what they called her. She has a fuller name. Organized the women to take over to like get on the boat that took the men to work and to confront the bosses. And they occupied the terminal for 10 days, I think, total.
Wow.
And, the thing was that Chevron was not the only entity to blame in this case, because they had bought some of the men from the village, by giving them, sweeteners and stuff, because a lot of the men did work at the village, right? Not at the village, at the terminal. So the women just felt, that things were sinking. There was hardly any electricity. There was just all these horrible conditions. People were getting sick. So they took over the terminal, and they demanded these amenities that they were not really amenities. These were necessities that they needed, health. There was no hospital. There was just all kinds of conditions. And by the way, I encourage you to look in the chat for a link to the article from which I wrote this song, because you'll see, as I've done in many cases when I do write a song out of the newspaper, I'm sometimes jogged by a sentence I read. And the first sentence in my song is a direct quote from the first sentence in the newspaper, which says, "Only a creek separates their village from the terminal of Chevron Texaco." So, I hear a rhythm there, and it took off for me. And it's a long article. I just reread it a few minutes ago and noticed how much I left out. But I couldn't encapsulate the whole thing in a song. But I think I got the essence, at least the essence that I wanted, which was about the empowerment of women and taking this power in their hands. And for me, who I come out of the women's movement in 1967, I was in a consciousness raising group. I had an epiphany. It changed my life forever and freed me and gave me a sense of self-worth to be able to understand myself in terms of institutional oppression, societal oppression of women. But when I see these articles about women who are so destitute and have so little, it's just, it thrills me and just brings such admiration and sense of solidarity that I have to write about them. This is not the only song I've written about African women, confronting adversity. There's at least two others. And so the first chorus of this song says, "Around the corner, the women are coming." And that was a chant that I learned from some South African women at a Union Women's Summer School, of which I'm a staff member. I'm the cultural director, have been for 25 years. My life's kind of started 25 years ago, I guess. But anyway, at least this section of it, when my band kind of broke up. But these women had come for this gathering. It was like a sort of a skills building, leadership kind of skills conference. and they chanted this song, and it was so catchy. Everybody caught on to it. And so when I read the article, I combined that with the story of Mama Ayo, and there was one fact I couldn't figure out how to get into the song, which was that in Nigeria, it is considered an extreme curse when women undress publicly in front of men.
Wow.
When they bare their breasts. And this was what they threatened the boat operator with, which enabled them to get on this boat that comes and picks up the men to take them to work.
Wow.
That was a whole nother piece that just,
Wow.
I didn't have room in the song for.
Wow.
Wow. If only we could do that in Congress and make them pass the
Right?
laws. Like, that's it. But it wouldn't go over here like that. That's incredible.
No, it wouldn't, because we exploit that.
That's
We
right.
exploit women's breasts.
That's
and
right.
stuff, and We don't really understand their power.
Yeah, right. Yeah, McConnell and Cruz would be like, yeah, bring it on.
Oh my God! Oh, that's disgusting. I can't even picture that. But that's fascinating, and I can understand why that would be hard to fit into to really
Yeah,
explain the
wow,
whole
though.
context of that.
Incredible.
It would take away from the whole,
Right.
I
Yeah.
think,
Right.
to
Yeah.
explain it.
Yeah.
But anyway, maybe we should play the song.
Sure. And before we play the song, I just want to say that you are seeing in the chat here in Zoom, and you're also seeing comments on Facebook about links and such like that. And that is thanks to our tech team. I see that the Times article, some folks, you may need a subscription, or you may need to ask somebody who has a subscription to give you a gift link so that you can read it. So if you can't read it this time, we'll try to find a way to get it for you, screenshot it or something like that for you all, and put it somewhere where you can read it.
Cool.
But you will get lyrics to the song in the chat and on the comments in Facebook, thanks to our fabulous tech team. So yes, Rada, if you would please play that, and I will, thank you. I'm gonna mute us.
Hundreds of women gathered by the riverfront before sunrise on July 8th. They watched the Chevron boat approach the dock to take their men to work that day. It took the captain by surprise when the women came on board and left the men behind. Sailing past the Chevron guards, they set foot on company grounds for the very first time. Woman to woman, shack to shack, from dugout canoe up across and back. The rivers and creeks that cross the land, women of Alvarado took a stand. Well, you've been getting rich for 40 years off the oil from Nigerian land. We don't think it's fair, and we will stay right here until you answer our demand. For 10 days and nights, they bargained hard till the company agreed to build schools and roads and hospitals and to provide electricity. Woman to woman, shack to shack, from dugout canoe up across and back. The rivers and creeks that cross the land, women of Alvarado took a stand. In Nigeria, in Nigeria, in Nigeria, in Nigeria, in
Oh, yes. That is so beautiful and powerful.
Do you see why I wanted to grow up to be like Bev?
So good that you
So,
told
you know,
us about.
it's been fun to learn how to make videos too, and to you know, be able to illustrate, because you can tell a little bit more. Like there was the bare-breasted women, for example. I was just noticing,
Right.
I'd forgotten. So I've edited the song a little bit, which I'll talk about as we go through it. I just took out a chorus that I think it didn't need at the end. But let me
Well, we will
see.
turn it over to you. I was just going to say I loved that you told us about the fact that bearing
Yeah.
their breasts was a curse, which
Yeah.
is, you know, horrific. We need to
Incredible.
deal with that. But
Exactly.
that would be considered a curse. But the fact that you had that picture in there made
Yeah.
all the difference for us to understand why.
Right. Right.
So powerful. Wow. Really
Thanks.
just made me tear up. It's really, really powerful.
Aw.
Yeah. So yeah, Bev, we'll turn it over to you to
All
teach
right.
the song. Thank you.
Yeah, this is the first time I've done this, so it should be interesting. It's not the same thing as being a choral director, but I'm not sure even how many of you really care about the harmonies, but I would like to give some idea. They're really simple and mostly kind of parallel harmonies, and often it'll switch from solo voice or melody voice and then bring in the harmony just for variation, stuff like that. And the chart has it fully laid out. If you are in a chorus or a trio or a duo and would like to use it, that's just fine with me. I thought I would start out with just the rhythm of the guitar because the chords themselves are really quite simple. It's just a 3-chord song. It's A, D, and E. Now, I'm going to show you that I play an A like this. Most people play it like that, but somehow or other I learned it like this, and Sandy told me, or maybe it was Pat, that this is an electric guitar way to do it. I don't play electric guitar, but anyway, I do play my A chord here, so when you're looking at my fingers, you'll know that's an A chord. And the same thing, a D chord is normally played like that with the 2 fingers and that finger there. I play it barred with my second finger down on the 2nd string, like that. And I play it E like everybody else does, okay? Although sometimes I go up here, but I'm not going to do that in this song. So it's basically 2 bars of each chord, and if you have the chord chart or the lyric in front of you, the opening will just be 2 bars of A, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, then the turnaround to the E to then go back to the A. And I want to explain that when I'm playing, it's a very kind of free and easy strum, but if I kept my fingers down throughout without, that's how it would sound. But what I do is at the end of each bar, I lift my fingers. I go 1 and. See how I'm lifting my fingers? But I'm still strumming. I don't strum hard on that upbeat, but you can hear some sound coming out of the guitar. And that's the pattern that throughout the song. In the bridge, I do a little different strum, which is it's on the upbeat. And 1 and like that. It's just upbeat is the step between 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 like that. So we'll now you've got the mechanics basically, and if you go to the lyric sheet that has the chords on it, we can stop and look at that difference if you like. So.
And Bev, let me just jump in because I forgot to say that at the top of the session. For folks who are joining us, there's a link at the top of your post on Facebook, or there's a link in your comments there on Facebook and here on the chat in Zoom where you can click to download for free the lyrics and the chords so you can follow along with Bev.
Okay.
And also,
So-
Bev, know that this group is a big harmony singing group, so they love to
They're
learn
excited.
the harmony lines.
Oh, good. All right. So the song, when I do it with my chorus or when I do it by myself, I do that in Nigeria part because it was sort of an afterthought when I actually went to record the song, because nowhere in the song does it say Nigeria. So this is a way, here it goes. In Nigeria. Here it comes. In Nigeria. There's in the beginning, I have my chorus, the sopranos do that part, and at the end, we do it again while the altos are singing around the corner. The mezzos join the sopranos. In Nigeria. In Nigeria. The end repeats it. The first the first in Nigeria is there's just two of them, and they're leaving quite a space between them. When at the end they're closer together, there's more of them, but we'll see that. Let's go through the intro, and you can sing along, and we'll go to the first chorus. So it's 1, 2, 3. In Nigeria, 3. In Nigeria. Oh no, that was wrong. Sorry. In Nigeria. Let it go. Then we get to the E chord. Around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner. And now we can do it with the next harmony. Above that, around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner. Sopranos just go a step above that, or you could, lower voices could go, it's around the corner, oh, women are coming. Around the corner, the women are coming. Say no. Around the corner goes up, the women are coming. Around the corner. So, why don't you, Pat and Sandy, you want to do that in a harmony?
Hold on, let's come up there because you went through them so fast. Let's just see if we know what you want us to do.
One of you do, the women are coming. The women are coming. Want to try that? But you'll have to play it, or we'll be out of sync.
Well,
A.
we won't be in sync together.
No,
but
I know I'm not going to sing.
Oh.
That's why I was saying earlier that if
Okay.
try it.
We'll try it.
Okay. So we have to do.
coming.
Yeah.
I'm
The
seeing.
women are coming. Okay.
Okay. The women are coming. The women are coming. The women are
I
coming.
don't remember if you wanted that note or not.
That's it.
The
That's fine.
women
That's
are
no,
coming.
don't. There's not a fourth one. It's
Oh,
only
there's not
three.
a fourth one.
Oh, okay.
Right. That's perfect.
Okay,
You know,
good.
'cause that gets a sense. And
Great.
it can be just a third. If people know what a third, it's just basically going up a couple of notes, you know, and finding the one that sounds pleasant with the one that you're trying to harmonize. So you guys probably know that. So let's that's the chorus, right? That was quick. Okay. So if you're looking at the chart, it starts out just the melody. Only a creek separates their village from the terminal Chevron, Texaco. Pumping oil for 40 years, the village watched the oil empire grow. As life for them got harder, the women's discontent grew every day. So they wrote a letter to the corporation, hoping someone would listen to what they had to say. So that's the verse. The first verse I usually do just the melody. So why don't we try that together? So we'll go from the beginning, since you need to get the lead in. Around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner to the E chord. Only a creek separates their village from the terminal Chevron, Texaco. So here's where I introduce harmony. Is it goes letters, we get lots of, and I do a soprano part above, like letters, we get lots of letters, said the Chevron CEO. They get lost in the shuffle and the bustle. And then I have like the altos. We got a business to run, you know. While the mezzos, the middle voices, are singing, we got a business to run, you know. And then it goes back to the soprano harmony. Mama, I felt insulted. She's the one who wrote the letter to disrespect her, made her mad. And then everybody does their harmony. So she called upon her neighbors. They discussed the options that they had. So she called upon her neighbors. They discussed the options that they had. Altos. So she called upon her neighbors. They discussed the options that they had. So I'm gonna expect that you guys know all of that now.
Okay, we can do a little of that if you want to hear
You
that.
could? All right, go
Yeah,
ahead. Why
yeah.
don't you do that?
Okay, so letters, right? And I'll do letters.
Yeah.
1,
Letters,
2,
letters.
3.
Yeah.
Letters. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Letters, we get lots of letters, said the Chevron CEO. They get lost in the hustle and the bustle. We got a business to run, you know.
I think.
Mama, I felt insulted. She's the one who wrote the letter to disrespect her, made her mad. So she called upon her neighbors and they discussed their options.
That they
No, you got the
options
phrase
that
that
they had. Yeah.
Called upon her
Oh, yeah, okay.
neighbors, and
So
they
she
discussed.
called upon
No,
her
called
neighbors.
upon.
and
Called upon her
Yeah.
neighbors.
Yeah.
Not called upon. Called upon. It's a
her
different.
neighbors.
Okay.
And they discuss the options.
Right.
Okay.
So
So she called upon her neighbors and they discussed the options that they had.
Great. You know what's really interesting, just to point this out, the way you sing a song, though you may be singing the same melody, you have a certain freedom to phrase differently. Pat and Sandy and I was listening to Bound for Freedom, and where you put the emphasis on a word, I put it in a different place when me and the chorus sing it, and I
Right.
just, but it's true. And that's what makes a person's interpretation of a song, important and noteworthy in a way. Like some people just can phrase a song, it just like makes you melt,
Yes.
and I don't always know why,
Yeah.
but
I
I've
always
become
think
more
of-
and more conscious of it over the years, the
Yeah.
difference that it makes in a song.
I always think of somebody like Barbara Streisand, who's also a trained actor. So actors can, they're delivering the line both with the melody, but also with the words in the way that
Right.
an actor delivers. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I think
Okay,
of
so
jazz
then the
singers,
song goes.
too, I was
Say
just
that
thinking,
again?
I think of jazz singers, who just they understand all of the room in every phrase and
Exactly.
take advantage of that room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next thing is the bridge. Now I need to point out that's wait a minute. One more thing about letters. We get lots of letters. I grew up watching the hit parade on television. I think it was on a weekend night. My family always turned that show on, and there was a portion of the show where they said letters, we get lots of letters. Nobody has ever picked that up. I guess I'm too old. But
You're not
I
too old.
always,
That's great.
this was in the 50s,
Right.
Maybe somebody out there picked it up. Tell me in the chat if you did.
That's so fantastic. Oh my gosh, that's great. I'm just
I've
looking
never
at.
told anybody that.
I'm looking to see if folks put that on Facebook. If anybody could be like, oh yeah, I remember that. That's so great. Well, we'll see. That's great.
Anyway, so it goes woman to woman, shack to shack. The one thing I need to point out is in that recording, don't listen to the pronunciation of the village because I didn't know what I was doing. I had nobody to run it past. I just improvised. And it's actually, in the recording, it says Uborodo. It's Uborodo. Uborodo. Look at the second line of the bridge at the end, the UGB accented ORODO. So Uborodo. Okay, so, and that goes, well, and this is where I'm going to change the guitar strum too, where I'm going to do it on the upbeat. The one, and. Woman to woman, shack to shack, from dugout, canoe, across and back. The rivers and creeks that cross the land, the women of Uborodo made a plan. And then back to around the core. Then I flow right back into that one and two and one and two strum. So let's try woman to woman. To woman, shack to shack, from dugout, canoe, across and back. The rivers and creeks that cross the land, the women of Uborodo made a plan. So that bridge happens one more time, and the only difference in the second time is instead of made a plan, it says took a stand. So just be conscious of that. I did write it into the bridge, which is why I wrote it full out instead of just going back to the chorus. So let's try that all together. Let's do it from letters, so that we can flow into it. Letters, we get lots of letters, said the Chevron CEO. They get lost in the shuffle and the bustle. Got a business to run, you know. Baba Ayo felt insulted. She's the one who wrote the letter to disrespect her, made her mad. She called upon her neighbors. They discussed the options that they had. Woman to woman, shack to shack, from dugout, canoe, across and back. The rivers and creeks that cross the land, women of Uborodo made a plan. Now there's a harmony there. Woman to woman, shack to shack, from dugout, canoe, across and back. The rivers and creeks that cross the land, the women of Uborodo made a plan. You guys want to try that, or should we just go on?
Here we come. We want to give it a try.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I also want to let you know that Susan Berryhill wrote, oh, yes, I remember letters. We get lots of letters.
A contemporary.
Yay. All right. So
Great.
let's, oh, and I'm doing woman to woman, shack to shack.
Yeah, go
and
back
you're
to the
doing
other chorus
something
because I
else.
keep starting to sing the other one.
Wait, we're doing the bridge, though.
Or the bridge, yeah, but made a plan. Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
So we're starting it.
Woman to woman, shack to shack.
So I'm singing. No, 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 no.
Oh, I was singing that because
Oh,
it's
okay.
a lower harmony.
Oh, right,
that
yeah.
Kat was
Okay.
teaching.
Oh, yeah.
Woman to woman.
Yeah. Okay.
Woman to woman, shack to shack, from dugout, canoe, across and back. The rivers and the creeks that cross the land, the women of Uborodo made a plan. Cool. All right. You're generous. We're doing our best.
You're doing great. Also, harmony, you can make your own harmony, but this kind of shows you where the notes are, you know, and like you, woman to woman, shack I could say you could change it shack to shack. You know, you don't have to like do exactly. You could do it more by ear. And Pat and Sandy, if they were harmonizing this song without those notes or trying to approximate those notes, they'd probably come up with something totally different. But that's it. That's fine. That's creativity. That's that's juicy. So let's do the harmony, and then we'll go into the chorus, and I'll continue with the next verse, and then we'll go back for the harmony on that. So, woman to woman, woman to woman, shack to shack, dugout, canoe, across and back, the rivers and creeks that cross the land, the women of Road, old main upland. Chorus. Around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner. Now I'm going to do the verse. Hundreds of women gathered by the riverfront before sunrise on July 8th. Then this could be the soprano harmony can come here. And watch the chevron boat approach the dock, take their men to work that day. Continued soprano. It took the captain by surprise when the women came on board and left the men behind. Sailing past the chevron guards, they set foot on company grounds for the very first time. Do the bridge again. Woman to woman, shack to shack, from dugout, canoe, across and back, the rivers and creeks that cross the land, the women of Morodo took a stand. Okay, so let's do that verse. And when we get to the end of that verse, Pat and Sandy, why don't you take the bridge again? Okay? So hundreds of women gathered by the riverfront before sunrise and watch the chevron boat approach the dock to take their men to work that day. For the harmony. It took the captain by surprise when the women came on board and left the men behind. Sailing past the chevron guards, they set foot on company grounds for the very first time. You guys want to sing that? And they can sing along with you?
Sure. I was just
Okay.
hearing that your harmony goes up where I was going down on it, but I think we can do what you just did also.
Okay, and then go into the bridge. You might as well do the bridge as well again.
All right.
Okay.
Okay?
So you're doing hundreds of women, and I'm doing hundreds of women gathered.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. Hundreds of women gathered by the riverfront
Before sunrise on July 8th,
and
watch the chevron boat approach the dock to take their men to work that day. It took the captain by surprise when the women came on board and left the men behind.
Sailing past the...
Yeah.
Sailing past
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
It took the captain by surprise when the women
Came on board and left the men behind. Sailing past the chevron guards, they set foot on company grounds for the very first time.
like that.
Yeah, that was good. That
Like
was good.
definitively, they set foot on ground.
Right.
Yes, right.
Okay,
Oh, we
but
forgot
go
to
on.
do the bridge.
Do the bridge.
Woman
To woman, shack to shack, from dugout, canoe, across and back, the rivers and the creeks that cross the land, the women of Umborodo took a stand.
Around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner. Well, you've been getting rich for 40 years off the oil We don't think it's fair, and we will stay right here till you answer our demand. For 10 days and nights, they bargained hard till the company agreed to build schools and roads and hospitals and to provide electricity. So the harmony would be hundreds of women gathered by the... No, you've been getting rich for 40 years off the oil from Nigerian land. It could either be a solo or it could be with that high harmony. And then bring the soprano again. We don't think it's fair, and we will stay right here until you answer our demands. For 10 days and nights, I would do that solo or melody voice. They bargained hard till the company agreed, and then everybody, all three harmonies, to build schools and roads and hospitals, to provide electricity in the alto harmony, to build schools and roads and hospitals and to provide electricity. To melody, to build schools and roads and hospitals and to provide electricity. Soprano. To build schools and roads and hospitals and to provide electricity. You guys want to do that verse?
Kind of. We were watching something else that was going on. So, sorry. But, so you were doing, can you do the line? Wow. That's what we were watching.
Yeah, that's what you're watching.
We
for.
have a situation here. So
Yeah.
just a second. Okay.
We're just getting rid of people who are causing problems.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, that's never happened to me. That's weird.
Yeah, and it hasn't
Happens
happened to us
occasionally.
in a long time, and now it's happened, and this is our, it happened a few weeks ago, and then it happened again. But our team
Yeah.
is
Yay
so
for
good
Yeah.
that they
So
know
great.
what they're doing, and they're
Yeah.
right on top of it. But
Appreciate you.
Yeah, we do appreciate you. So tell us again, what would you
Okay.
like us?
So, first line, do it in unison
Okay.
or one voice. You've been getting rich for 40 years off the oil from Nigerian land. Then with the high harmony. We don't think it's fair, and we will stay right here until you answer our demands. And back to just the melody. For 10 days and nights, they bargained hard till the company agreed. And then full harmony. To build schools and roads and hospitals and to provide electricity. The high would. To build schools and roads and hospitals and to provide electricity. Low harmony. To build schools, and I know you're not gonna do this, and to provide electricity. And then we'll stop and go into something else. So
Okay.
All right.
go ahead.
Yeah.
You'll do the lead then, and I'll do the harmony parts, right?
Getting rich for 40 years.
Yep.
There we go.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. You've been getting rich for 40 years off the oil from Nigerian land. We don't think it's fair, and we will stay right here until you answer our demands.
Sorry.
For 10 days and nights they bargained hard till the company agreed to build schools and roads and hospitals and to provide electricity.
Good. Now, right there, the high harmony goes in Nigeria, and the rest and the everybody else. The next voice down harmonize in Nigeria, and the lower voices sing the melody to the chorus around the corner. So we can't do that here, but you guys could do.
We can do, if Pat does the around the corner, I can do the
Right, and you
Nigeria.
do in night to build schools and roads and hospitals and to provide electricity in night. Oh, so in Nigeria will come in night around the corner like
Oh,
that.
in Nigeria comes
Yep.
first. Sorry, that was me.
All right,
then.
so why don't you play that?
to build
schools
schools
and roads and hospitals, and to provide electricity.
in
Round the
Nigeria.
corner,
Right. That's it.
Nigeria.
round the corner,
The women are coming.
round the corner, the women are coming. Round the corner, the women are coming. Round the corner, the women are coming. Round the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner, the women are coming.
Yes. That's so cool.
You're conducting us across the screens.
So that's the song.
That's
the
great.
song.
So let's ask what people would like to work on if there's
Yeah,
any.
let's go to gallery view and then we'll
Okay.
we can have a look and see what folks need.
So the way we generally do that, let's see, people can raise their hand if they have a question or put something in the chat. Do people get most of those parts, or there's a part you wanted to do again? So thumbs up is we got it. Okay, good. Karen's got a question. Go ahead, Karen.
Oh, we got you on mute.
Oh, I have to ask you to unmute? Okay. Hold on.
There
You're
we go.
muted.
There we go.
This is a favorite of the DC Labor Chorus, and they do it in 4 parts. So it's interesting to hear it in 3. But it's one of those songs that the rhythm is as important as the words, because if you miss one word, you scrambled the whole thing. And I think you kind of felt that a couple of times when you were doing it. But once you get the rhythm down, it's just one of my very favorite songs. I'm so glad that you're teaching it today, Bev, because Elise is great, but it's your song. It's even better. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I loved when she tried to do it as a solo for your 80th birthday. That was lots of fun to listen to too.
Uh-huh.
That's great.
So what happened? Because she was trying to cover all the parts, Karen, and it was just impossible to cover all the parts?
Yeah, she was trying to do all 4 directions. She got everything except the in Nigeria. Then at the end, she just said she was hearing it in her head. And she hoped everybody else was too.
Very
But you can only do so many parts at the same time.
Right. Well, we would have done, there is possibility definitely for 4 parts. And in the chorus, I do have a contralto section. So they often sing actually an octave below the sopranos on the harmonies for the most part.
Yeah, cool.
And for folks who don't know the DC Labor Chorus, do you want to say a little bit about it, Karen?
Sure. The DC Labor Chorus is a group of, it's 2 groups actually. It's a group of activists and it's a group of musicians. They somehow merge together and show up at picket lines and activist functions and in the DC area. And they've been going for, I think it's 26 years now. They have, they just did their spring concert a couple weeks ago, but it was just a fabulous group. Steve Jones is the music director. He's one of the most fabulous jazz pianists I've ever heard anywhere. And Elise Bryant is just a driving force that is a formidable power. And she's managed to keep it together for that many years. People just hear them, and it's an all-inclusive kind of thing. The group, the audience, she doesn't believe in entertainers. She believes that we're there to teach you something through music, and she expects audience participation. In fact, she demands audience participation. And it was an honor and a joy to be part of them. And I still tune in to everything they do, and sometimes on their rehearsals on Monday nights just for fun. But that's all I can think of. They also have, they're an affiliate of the Labor Heritage Foundation. And their big event each year is the Great Labor Arts Exchange. And go to laborheritage.org for more information on DC Labor Chorus and Great Labor Arts Exchange and whatever else is going on in their corner
I
of
go
the
to the
universe.
Great Labor Arts Exchange whenever I can. I can't go this year because it's in Chicago. It's just kind of a hike,
Right.
you know.
Well, it's where I met Pat and Sandy. It's where I met you. It's where I met, no, it's not where I met Charlie King, but it's where I met most of the activists that I know. Rebel Voices,
Right.
lots of people.
Yeah. Thank you. That's great.
Yeah,
Anybody
yeah.
else?
Great.
Yes, thanks so much, Karen. Yeah, Lynn wrote a question in the chat. In the bridge where the strumming pattern changes rhythm, does the down-up continuous motion of the pick stay the
Just the
same?
up.
Sorry, yeah, but
Yes.
simply the emphasis gets moved to the upstroke or on the offbeats, or is Bev actually reversing her strum pattern so that the upstroke falls on the downbeats? I think the former, but just want to make sure.
Yeah, it's the former. It's on the upbeat. It's 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and I'm going down but lightly hitting the string. Well, wobble to wobble, sha. Oh, let me put it here so you can see.
Yeah. Say.
Wobble to wobble, sha to sha. So it's the same down and up. It's just the emphasis is on the up instead of the down. All right. Whereas in the rest of the song, it's on the. There is an emphasis on the up on the one, but the up is every beat here. Instead of. It's taking that down out of it.
Right, and Lynn is saying thanks, but you lift your left hand chords up on the downbeats now.
Oh. Right.
This is like rub your
Good
belly, and
observation.
pat your forehead, pat your head, and rub your belly at the same time, kind
Right.
of questioning. But because of the words, right? You lift your left hand chords up on the downbeats, which
Right.
is correct. That's great, Lynn. Thank you. That's a great question. So maybe if you want, Bev, either we could have you just sing through the song and people can sing whatever parts they want along, or we could play the video again and have people sing along. I think they'd prefer to see you sing it if you're up for that.
Yeah, no, let's go through the whole song. Maybe you guys like to sing it.
I don't think we want to pull the whole song
No?
together for you because you're going to get the rhythm just the way you want it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, here we go. In Nigeria, around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner. Only a creek separates their village from the terminal Chevron, Mexico. Pumping oil for 40 years, village watched the oil empire grow. As life for them got harder, the women's discontent grew every day. So they wrote a letter to the corporation, hoping someone would listen to what they had to say. Around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner. Hundreds, letters, we get lost. on July 8th. Let me do that again. Hundreds of women gathered by the riverfront before sunrise on July 8th and watched the Chevron boat approach the dock to take their men to work that day. It took the captain by surprise when the women came on board and left the men behind. Sailing past the Chevron boat, they set foot on company grounds for the very first time. Woman to woman, shack to shack, dug out the boot across and back. Rivers and creeks that cross the land. Women of Morodo took a stand. Around the corner, the women come. Around the corner, around the corner. I'm losing my voice. Around the corner. Hey, you've been getting rich for 40 years off the oil from Nigerian land. We don't think it's fair. We will stay right here till you answer our demand. For 10 days and nights, they bargained hard till the company agreed to build schools and roads and hospitals and to provide electricity. Around the corner, around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner, the women are coming. Around the corner, the women are coming. Nigeria, the women are Nigeria. Oh, the women are coming. Nigeria, the women are coming. Nigeria, the women are coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is it. Triumphant, powerful. Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
So great to
Thanks.
hear that.
That was fun.
It was
Good,
fun.
thank you.
It was fun to sing.
It was really fun to sing.
We miss singing with you so much.
Good.
And I really love how
Yeah, I
that,
miss you guys.
thank you. I love how that the fourth verse goes right into the in Nigeria,
Nigeria.
instead
Yeah,
of going
that's
back to
cool.
the it's really, really cool. Yeah.
Only I keep
I like
being-
I like arranging. I think arranging.
I do
is
Yeah.
too.
fun.
I do too. We do too.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
I keep wanting to sing that another line of that, around the corner though.
Really, I used to have it in there, but it felt like, oh well, you can continue the ending.
Yeah.
You
But
want,
you
you
know,
want to
I
say
did
the
it
women
in
are
the
coming
video.
the
The wi-
fourth time.
I want to say the women are coming the fourth time though.
Oh, you do.
Around
But it
the
seemed
corner.
anticlimactic to me somehow.
Maybe. I don't know.
All right. Well, you could do it if you want. That's the
Thanks.
thing, you know.
Thank you. That's so great.
You can take liberties with other people's music and through your arrangements of them.
Nice. Yeah. And I just wanted to shout out, there's a nice little thread going on right now, and where, let's see, Shireen said, what a fabulous song and such brilliant storytelling. And then Paula answered, I agree, Shireen, people's history for the win. I thought that was really important to see in the chat there. So
How do I
before-
save the chat?
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's those three little dots, and you
Yeah.
click on them, it says save the chat. And if not, I can save it for you and email it to you. But before we sign off for today, Bev, tell people what you're up to, because we know you've got a lot going on with your photography book, and are there
Oh,
places
yeah.
people should?
Well, before I got into music, since I wasn't into music as a kid, but I left it for a jazz musician who I felt was so much superior to anything that I did. So I quit and I became a musician's old lady until I wasn't. And I discovered the women's movement and I started writing about that, well, my goodness. So, but I joined a group called Newsreel, which was a radical filmmaking group. And last night I actually did a panel at a film showing of a film that I worked on called El Pueblo Se Levanta, which was about the Young Lords Party. And it's a wonderful film. I love that film. You know, it's just so full of heart and so full of love for the Young Lords. You know, it's like a love letter to them. And one of the participants in that film from the Young Lords Party was there last night. She's the one who came down with COVID today. So
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
anyway, I don't feel anything. And
Keep testing.
so, you know, we looked at the film, but I also started about 2017, actually. I started digitizing all these negatives that I had. I had like a shoebox with a bunch of negatives in them from film I had shot back in the day. And I had processed the negatives, but not the prints, you know, only very few prints because it was so expensive then, you know, paper and the chemicals you needed and all that stuff. So I found out I have about 2,500 images of really seminal events, you know, like the Miss America Beauty Pageant protest and the Witch Hex on Wall Street, both of which I was part of, as well as photographing them. So for me, photography was really a tool. You know, it was my activism, what I used in my activism. And now that there's the Black Panther Party, Free Breakfast for Children programs, the Young Lords Party, the Poor People's Campaign in 1968, you know, just really some amazing events that I had, many of which I'd forgotten about. And I started putting the images, once I digitized them, then they were like data, and I could put them, you know, on my Facebook page or whatever. And people started noticing, and I started getting calls, and I submitted some to Getty, which is a stock footage organization you've probably seen in citations. And they liked them, and I sent them to them. So they've appeared in all kinds of magazines and books and newspapers, including the New York Times. And, you know, more recently, in the last couple of years, I have a representative who has been able to secure exhibitions for me. I have a wonderful exhibition in Portland, Oregon, that ends on June 11th at Reed College Cooley Gallery. It's really, I was like really impressed with it myself. You know, I walk in and it's a very large room, and my name was on the door. You know, it was a glass door. My name was there. I was like, oh shit, this is like serious. You know, and they blew the photos up really large, which is super expensive to do. You know, I mean, they were like, they mounted about maybe 30 prints. Plus, they did one the size of a wall.
Wow.
You know, of this incredible photo of a demonstration in New Haven in 1969 in support of Bobby Seale and Erica Huggins, who were two Panther Party members who were on trial for murder. They were acquitted, but they spent a couple years in jail. And this was a women's demonstration that was really fantastic because it was such an intersectional meeting of, you know, Puerto Rican, Dominican, black, and white women, you know, and people carrying each other's signs, you know. There were black women carrying
nice.
women's liberation signs and women carrying, you know, Free Erica signs. And it was really, this photo itself is a picture of all these women on the courthouse steps, right? Fists up and yelling with their placards and women's liberation banners. And I mean, it was really pretty impressive to see it sort of life size, you know.
That's beautiful.
So I have now a more modest exhibition on the East Coast here at the Bottle House American Labor Museum in Haledon, New Jersey. That opened on May 1st and is going to close on August 28th. And I don't know what's in, you know, also a book got published of my photos, that my representative, who's has a gallery and a company called Osmos, published. It's called Bev Grant Photography, 1968 to 1972. You can get it online. And it has over 100 photos. And you guys could talk about the book, maybe.
It's fantastic. I mean, it's beautiful. I also was going to say that Karen right away was saying I went to see the Portland exhibit for my birthday. It was fabulous. Love the book, she said. And the book, which you were so generous to gift to both of us, to each of us, it has the photos organized by the events, as you were saying. And so you don't just get like one shot of this. The one that always comes to mind for me is the trash strike, where people like in Harlem left. They made a barricade essentially of the trash, I guess, to make the point that they weren't receiving the services that they needed in that city. But you have the pictures from many angles about who was there, what they were doing, what it looked like on people's faces to take part in something like that, but also to live with the oppression that they were living with. I mean, you really captured like the spirit of the people's history, just to sort of reflect back on what Shireen and Paula were writing in the chat. It's beautiful, and we're so, we're always impressed with you. I sang backup for Bev many, many years ago in your band, and then to know this whole other element of who you were, and it's just beautiful. So I would definitely recommend people to check it out. Yeah.
And I'm working on a film now that'll probably come out in a few months that documents the photos and has me narrating it, talking about what they were and what was going on, and has some of the footage that I shot as well. And Newsreel, it went through many changes while I was in it, but then it ended up taken over basically by the people of color, and it now exists as Third World Newsreel, and they are continuing that spirit of making relevant media, making media that is for the people, and they have they're training people of color to, give them the skills to do this for themselves, right? And to, just explain their own struggles. And it's a wonderful organization, and I feel so honored because they're going to distribute my film. And it feels like I've come sort of full circle, from where I started, know.
Yeah.
It's like, God, I feel so lucky,
Yeah,
it's
beautiful.
just like amazing.
Well, you always had such great stories to tell.
There's life
so-
after 80.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
You always had such great stories to tell. I'm so glad that some of them are documented in these photos. I was always prodding you to write a book or something, because every time I would come and visit, you would just tell me some amazing stories about things you'd experienced. I was like, oh my gosh, Bev, people have to hear these. So I'm so glad now that there's, that we have access to at least that portion of your amazing life.
Thanks.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for joining us. What we're going to do at this point is we're going to just close up this event, but we always have a little bit of a Zoom
You're
hang.
breaking up.
Oh, we are? Yeah, I'm not surprised. Can you hear me now? Here I am. Okay. We're gonna stop our live stream in just a second, but we invite people who aren't trolls and creepy people like that to come, and you can join us in our Zoom hang. Because what we like to do is, if you've got something, if you want to share, have a question, or you want to share some love and appreciation for Bev, we'll do that first in the Zoom hang, and then we will let Bev have the rest of her beautiful Sunday, June 5th afternoon.
Yeah, I love to hang out for a little bit.
Sweet.
Okay, good.
That'd be
Thank
great.
you.
Well, thanks, folks on Facebook who came to be part of this. There's room in the Zoom room, especially if you're not a troll, to come join us. We'd love to have you, and you can come and lay your praise on Bev.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming, everybody.
Yeah, and let you know about what we have coming up. We're here on the East Coast. We've got some shows coming up this coming weekend. Friday in Brattleboro, Vermont, Saturday in Boston, Massachusetts, and Sunday in Northampton, Massachusetts, with Annie Patterson, raising funds for this group called Movement Voter Project, Movement Voter PAC. And what that group does is fund grassroots organizations in states where they're fighting for people's voting rights to, one, exist, and for them to actually take advantage of their ability to vote and to get to the voting places and all of those issues that are going on. And if you've been catching any of the news, you know that just everywhere we turn, people's voting rights are under attack. So please come and support Movement Voter PAC and come and join us.
If Annie Patterson's name is not familiar, take a look at the cover of your Rise Up Singing or your Rise Again songbook, because she and her partner Peter Blood are responsible for those immense collections of lyrics, wonderful songbooks.
Yeah,
And she's just a terrific singer. We
Yeah,
really love
Yeah.
getting a chance to do 3-part harmony with her. She's a blast.
And all of those concerts that we're doing are live streamed, so you can join us anywhere on Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. After that, we'll be at the Poor People's Campaign down in Washington, D.C., singing on Sunday, June 18th at the demonstration. And then we have a concert that evening, Saturday, June 18th. Both of those are Saturdays.
Yes.
June 18th at the Poor People's Campaign, and Saturday, June 18th, we're doing a concert that evening at Busboys and Poets.
At 14th and V, if you are DC folks.
And then we'll be at General Assembly, Unitarian Universalist General Assembly in Portland, Oregon, doing a concert on Sunday, June 26th in the evening. So I think the reason why the word Sunday was in mind is because we're out on the road, we will not be able to do these afternoon sessions that you are with us at right now for the rest of this month. So on Sunday, June 12th, catch us at that live or live stream show, Northampton, Mass, or from anywhere. Sunday, June 19th, we're going to still be in DC and working on a project which we will tell you about, but for right now we haven't told you about. And Sunday, June 26th, we'll be doing that concert in Portland, Oregon. We'll see if we can make that live streamed as well, so you can join us from anywhere. So for this month of June, this is our last Learn a Song session for this month of June. We'll be back in July, and let's see if we got everything. Yeah, I think we got it all. And we do have new CDs out. Rooted, which is songs that we've written during the pandemic period.
And then our 20th anniversary, Stan and I just sort of woke up one day and went, oh my God, it's been 20 years. maybe we should, document that somehow, celebrate the fact that we've been doing this for all that time. So we created a retrospective of songs that sort of chronicled that those 20 years. And so we added some new songs to that as well, but it sort of is representative of all those years that we've been writing songs and singing together.
So we want to thank our tech team once again for doing everything from putting comments into the chat, playing videos, and doing necessary things, fighting off trolls with their sabers and
With their
lightsabers. That's the word I was looking for. All right, y'all. So we're going to be hanging with Bev a little bit up here on the chat, on Zoom, and we will say goodbye to our folks joining us on Facebook Live and to anyone who's watching on YouTube after the fact.
Yeah.
Come join us sometime. Take care.